Trick training is a great way to build a positive relationship with your dog and have fun training. But what about tricks that are also practical? I'm Chelsea with Positive Futures Dog Training and Behavior, and today we're going to teach our dogs how to close a cabinet. To get started, you're going to need to warm your dog up on a hand target. If you don't already have a hand target with your dog, check out the card at the top for a tutorial on targeting. After you have your dog warmed up on a target, we're going to introduce a small piece of paper or a post-it note in the target so that the dog starts to understand that they're targeting not just our hand, but this piece of paper. I find that it's easier to get our dogs to target something if we add in a little motion, as it helps prevent the dog from getting stuck. After you click the behavior of your dog's nose touching the piece of paper, toss your treat backwards to encourage a little motion and allow the dog to approach the target. We want to slowly begin to move the hand with the target closer and closer to your cabinet door. Once you're able to get your hand directly on the door, then you can transfer the paper to the cabinet. Your dog will begin to target the cabinet door instead of the paper altogether, in which case you can work on either peeling away at your target to make it smaller and smaller, or capturing targets directly to the door and removing the paper altogether. Now that we've got our dog touching the door, we want to make sure that we're getting targets that are hard enough to completely close the cabinet. If you get a repetition where your dog is unable to close the door, you can toss a reset cookie behind them and try again, or wait them out and see if they'll offer another touch to the door, ultimately resulting in it closing. Here you can see that I tried to wait her out to see if she would target the door again. She started to get confused, so I tossed a treat back and reset her for another repetition from the beginning in order to help her be successful in that moment. Finally, when you get targets that are harsh enough to get that door closed, you can start to add your verbal cue. I chose the cue, close it. I toss the treat behind the dog, and as the dog is approaching the cabinet, I give the cue. I click the behavior of touching the door and toss my treat back, giving me an opportunity to open the door again. After your dog knows this behavior well on a verbal cue, you can then begin to generalize this behavior so that your dog can close any cabinet door that's open that you give them the cue for. It's important to remember during this stage of generalization that different cabinet doors weigh different amounts and have different closure types, making some easier to push close than others. If you begin to generalize and your dog is confused or is unable to completely close the door, don't be afraid to bring your piece of paper and your target back out and reshape this behavior without a verbal cue from the beginning. Since your dog has done this already, it's going to be very easy for your dog to jump right back in to the behavior that you want. Then you can begin to add your verbal cue once you have your behavior. Tricks can be more than just fun. They can also be practical. So put your dog to work and let him help out around the house. If you liked this training tutorial, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel. And I think you'll like this playlist here, which has a variety of trick training tutorials to help you out on your next rainy day.